introducing our speaker today, the Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. He spoke to us back in February, and we so wanted to get him back. He's in great demand, but here he is. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is a true Imagineer. And he has many years of experience as a professional educator, a visual artist, a performer, an ASL interpreter, a lover of comics and film to all areas of his life and his ministry, which for him extends beyond the church, the center. He's an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister, and he serves as the founding minister and spiritual director of the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, which is the Centers for Spiritual Living Teaching Center. He is both a frequently sought after guest minister speaker at churches and centers and events, and frequently requested facilitator as he does seminars and workshops, which would be really fun to have one here. And they are related, just saying, related to such things as, is he saying yes?
Yes.
Good. As radical and audacious self-care, living with purpose, grief, forgiveness, LGBTQ empowerment, exploring and expressing one's own creativity, and that's just a few of the titles. In addition to all this, he currently serves as both the co-lead and the interfaith lead for his local Moms Demand Action chapter. And as a survivor of gun violence, he's a participant in the Everytown Survivor Fellowship Program. Yay, let's hear it for Reverend Raymont Anderson.
Stay and greetings. Can you hear me? Hands up if you can hear me. Yay, team. So, namaste and greetings and grand rising to you, beloved Concordia CSL community. It is great to be with you again. And you said when we scheduling this workshop? We'll do that later. Because right now, if you are ready, if you are ready for me to stir the pot and poke the bear, hands up if you are ready. There we go. So today, what are we discussing? Today we are discussing the concept of a Sangha, which is a Sanskrit word from both the Buddhist and the Yogic traditions and philosophies that references spiritual community. Breathe that in. Spiritual community. Okay? Now, spiritual community, what is that? It's a place where people come together to support each other, to nurture each other, to remind each other of our own divine spiritual magnificence, to help us move along in this thing called spiritual evolution, awakening, awareness, all of that stuff. Providing food to those that need food, providing all kinds of spiritual community is the heartbeat of the beloved community. Now, within the spiritual community, the beloved community, certain things are key. Things like what? Love, peace, which is what we're talking about today. Om Shanti Om. Peace and belonging. Now, let us be reminded that there is great power that comes from gathering together in what we will today refer to as a CSL Sangha of Peace, where we support each other, to embody and be the peace that we desire to see in the world, and specifically in a world that truly does work for all. Not just everyone, but for all. That means the animals, nature itself, not just humanity, but for all of that which God is incarnating itself in and as. How do we rise grandly to do this work? Breathe. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us that peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but it is the means by which we arrive at that goal. Now, we could swap out. A world that works for all is not merely a distant goal or vision that we seek to manifest or experience, but it is the means by which we arrive at the manifestation of that goal. Now, peace being the theme for today, Om Shanti Om. If I were to ask you, which I'm not, we'll do the quiz thing when I'm there live in person, so just study up. But if I were to ask you, what is peace? What does that word mean? Because oftentimes we get stuck in the jargon of peace. And if I reference peace, and Denise references peace, and Brian references peace, we might be talking about various levels and different aspects of. So how do we come together beyond the jargon? Well, we have to communicate about it. We have to chat about it. Like, what does it mean for a community to embody peace? To be the living, moving embodiment of peace itself. We cannot embody, we cannot manifest, we cannot do this truly if we don't know what it is. If I were to say, Scott, if you don't mind, could you make me a grilled cheese sandwich? And Scott says, you said, what now? Grilled cheese. What is cheese? We have to know what a thing is before we can include it in whatever it is that we are manifesting. So there's this idea of peace. Now, rather than me giving you Merriam and Webster's definition of peace, I encourage you, homework assignment number 1. I encourage you to have conversation with one another and explore all of the ways and all of the meanings and all of the permutations of what does it mean to you, peace, and how does it relate to living in and being in spiritual community. Breathe. Now, when Brian was doing the opening meditation and prayer, a couple of things popped into my mind, like, oh yeah, that Ernest Holmes, oh yeah, and that, oh. So I'm going to share a little bit of what popped into my mind as he was delivering that masterful prayer. In Ideas of Power, Dr. Holmes reminds us that the only God you and I, any of us, would ever know is the one that we embody. There is no outside anthropomorphic God for us to know. The only God that you and I can know is the one that we embody. So rather than having faith in God, we are invited to have the faith of God. Dr. Holmes also reminds us that whatever is true about God, whatever is true of Source, whatever is true of Spirit, whatever is true of this thing called life, there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is your life right now. Whatever is true of it must be true of you, because the life that is God is not two, but one. Now, I know for a lot of us, this idea of, you said what now? You said that which God is. And, ooh, but if you knew what was in my closet, ooh, if you knew what I sleep underneath the sofa, ooh, if you know the last time I got behind the refrigerator and actually, ooh, if you knew all of these things about me, you would not consider me divine, sacred, or holy. And I say that nonetheless, we can never be less. It doesn't matter what we have done that we consider wrong. It doesn't matter the times that we were angry and frustrated, the times that we felt resentment and guilt and bitterness. None of that changes the fact that that which God is incarnating itself in, through, and as everyone and everything right now. So no matter the mistakes, no matter the, I could stand to lose a couple of extra pounds. No matter the, did you see the gray hair? No matter the, I bounced the check last. No matter what, you are a divine incarnation of, there is only one life, and that life is incarnating itself as you, breathing itself as you, moving itself as you, imagining itself as you, cooking whatever that is you are cooking as you. there is no separation. So when we Om Shanti Om, Om, that which is the divine seed sound of creation itself. Shanti, the sound, the word of peace, divine peace of the absolute. Om Shanti Om. And let us be reminded that Shanti, peace shows up in the physical level. Peace shows up in the mental, intellectual level. Peace that shows up in the emotional level. Peace that shows up in the spiritual level. Shanti, if it is true peace that we are embodying, then all of the levels of peacefulness we are invited to step into. We are invited to breathe into. Not just, well, if I would love to see peace on earth, and yeah, I got you. Yes, peace on earth, goodwill to all. Yes, that is part of a world that works for all. Yes. And yet, if I am still at war with myself because I feel like, well, as a licensed practitioner, I shouldn't feel depression ever. I should never feel frustrated or fearful, because if I am a licensed practitioner and I know that God is all there is, then, and so we guilt and shame ourselves into war within our own minds, war within our own emotions, war within our own family relationships, etc., versus saying, even in the midst of the depression, where is the peace of my heart, mind, soul, spirit? Even in the midst of this, whatever cantankerous relationship with my neighbor or whoever, where is the invitation to not only know what peace is, but to truly embody it in a way where I say, why am I arguing with Denise in the first place? Do I feel that Denise did something that I am making personal about myself? Did Brian, borrow something from me and it's been 3 weeks, Brian. I want my lawnmower back. And so I, in my own mind, create reason to be in a state of animosity versus Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Divine peace of the absolute is the truth of my being, because whatever is true about God must be true about me, because that which God is all there is. In Sanskrit, one of my favorite passages in the literature of the Bhagavad Gita, etc., there's this passage that says Om Asato. Actually, I actually do it as more like a song or a chant. Om Asato Matsat Gamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mijorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The translation: lead us from that which is unreal to that which is real. Lead us from that which is the darkness and the ignorance of into the light and the awareness. Lead us from that which is death into that which is immortal, immortality itself. Om, that which is the absolute. Peace, peace, peace. What do we say in our Declaration of Principles? We believe that heaven is within and that we will experience it to the degree that we are conscious of it. Breathe. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. Breathe. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation and liberation from all discord of every nature, and that everyone is sure to attain this. Breathe. This is our invitation. How do we truly embody this teaching? When Dr. Holmes said in Sermon by the Sea, show me 1,000 people who know what religious science is, who know how to practice it and are doing so, and are living it as a way of life, and I will see, he didn't say these words, but what he said means, and I will see a world that works for all. We are at a critical juncture, a tipping point where, you have a glass of water and you put a drip, and you put a drip, and you put a drip, drip, and you put a drip. Sooner or later, it's only going to take one drip and it overflows. Are we ready to drink from the saucer of life because our cup runneth over? Because if we're going to do this, then we have to remember, as Mother Teresa said, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Belonging, community, oneness, and unity. Another thing that came to my mind, I was reminded of when Brian was praying, was something that Meister Eckhart said. Between me and God, there is no between. Now, we could swap out, because if we're going to say whatever is true about God is true about us, between me and peace, there is no between. Between me and health, there is no between. Between me and abundant, life-affirming joy, there is no between, because that which it is, I must be right here and right now. See, for me, I am reminded that yes, prayer is an amazing practice. But what happens if we turn prayer into the way we live our lives? You know, when Jesus said, well, in Philippians, when it says, don't be anxious for anything, but in everything by prayer and with thanksgiving, present that which you desire to experience to the divine. Now, that's not how it said it. That's a Reverend Ray remix. But the concept is, don't worry about anything. Instead, take life-affirming actions, such as engaging in the activity of prayer as a way of life that is fueled by thankfulness, thanksgiving, gratitude, and present your desired experience into the law as already manifested, and then live with dedication and conviction and confidence and the peacefulness that comes with doing what is yours to do. Breathe. So our invitation, action. How do we show up as the embodiment of peace? When Dr. King said, the long arc of the moral universe is long. It's long, but it bends toward justice. Yes, and Rabbi Rami Shapiro reminds us, yes, the long arc of the moral universe does bend, yes, but it doesn't bend of its own accord, but rather it is bent under the weight of those who choose to engage the power to bend it. Are we ready to bend it? Another thing from the Declaration of Principles, we believe in the individualization of the Spirit as us, and that all beings, all things, everything, everywhere, is a divine, individualized expression of this oneness. We ready to live, move, and have our beingness as that? Are we ready, willing, and able to speak peace? Like our mental equivalent, our thoughts and beliefs. Are we ready, willing, and able to anchor them in and as peacefulness? Our words and communication, whether it's a text, whether it's verbal, whether it's American Sign Language, whatever it is, body language, are we ready and willing and able to communicate peacefulness? Are we ready to go to that place of our emotional intelligence to feel whatever it is we need to feel in order to shift into, to transform and transmute our emotions into peacefulness? And peacefulness doesn't mean we get rid of the grief and the depression or whatever that is. It means there it is, and we envelop it in a deep and powerful hug of peacefulness that says, I feel the pain, and I am willing to heal. Not, I'm going to bypass it and ignore it and pretend that everything is all right when it isn't. S. Kelly Harrell says we do not heal in isolation. We heal in community. So if we heal in community, then this is, right where you are, is the laboratory of developing peacefulness. Right here, let us pour into, not too much, not too, there it is, there it is. Now swirl it around, swirl, I believe this is it. Look at that, is that, oh, that is peacefulness. Notice how it dries my crackly hands. Peacefulness. Are we ready to dive into the laboratory of, I put too much lotion on. Are we ready to dive into the laboratory of, right where you are is the place to explore peace. Right where you are is the place to explore and excavate the divine. Yes, and if we are willing, then we, right here and right now, we are the wave of consciousness that is ready to sweep all areas of this magic, beautiful, tiny blue marble flung throughout the heavens of the cosmos. We are the ones that cause peace to show up in the air, in the soil, in the concrete, in the Ukraine, in Russia, in Israel, in Gaza. We are the ones who bring peacefulness to the Congo. We are the ones who bring peacefulness to Springfield, to the United States of America, and to all lands and seas and air around the planet, right here and right now. If we are acknowledging what we say we understand about this teaching, then right here and right now is our invitation to be the living embodiment of Om, the divine, Shanti, peace, Om, absolute. We are the living, moving, breathing embodiment of absolute divine peace. Not the peace of God, but the peace that God is. And so it is.